Okay, everybody, when we last left, we had a two-column layout. We're using the Bootstrap grid technique to generate the two columns. And then what I want to show you is how we can, let's style the navbar. Let's get the navbar in place. Let's make it a horizontal navbar. But then let's also style these category links on the side as a vertical rollover bar. And so if you've been following any of my tutorials, or you've done the list tutorial and you already have navbars you can put in place, feel free to do that. But what we're going to do is we're going to link to a separate style sheet that is just designed for navigation. So you want to go into the file you've been working on for your two-column layout, and let's just, right after we link to the layout, let's go ahead and create another link to our navbar, which is going to be a file called navigation. Give your files meaningful names, right? If it's for navigation, call it navigation. Don't get too fancy. You don't need to call it bobthechicken.css, although I suppose you could. And so, all right, so what I do is I create a link, and and what you want to do is you want to copy this title here just to make sure it's going to link correctly. And I'm going to create a new style sheet. Create a new file, and I'm going to go ahead and give it a comment. And in my comment, I'll title it navigation.css. And then I'm going to save my changes. So you should, when you go to save it, if you've been working in Notepad++, you're probably going to be in the same folder, but you might want to double check to make sure this is the folder you're looking for. Okay, and it is. So since I already copied it just a moment ago, I'm going to paste it. And so now I know this will match my link. It's already open in Notepad++. Okay, that was my mistake. I had it open over here, apparently. And so I'm just going to save it there. Okay. Weird. Wacky. Where were we? Template. We've linked to the navigation style sheet. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to style our navbars. And we have a couple different navbars going on here. Number one, we have our nav container, which is our primary nav. But we also have some nav elements in our sidebar with a class of sidebar. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to do some general navbar stylings that will apply to both our vertical list and our horizontal list. And we're going to target those using the nav element and the UL element. So we're saying an unordered list inside of a nav. And then we're going to apply the standard styles that you normally would do, which would be, for example, text, style, type. Hold on. Excuse me, I meant list style type. List style type, none. This gets rid of our bullets. Okay, very important piece here. I'm going to do a margin of 0 and a padding of 0, like so. Save our changes. We go look at our page now. We hit refresh. Bullets are gone on both of these. Okay. Another styling that you really want to do is you want to treat your hyperlinks like block level elements. So we're going to put nav A. So any hyperlink inside of our nav element is going to have a display of block. Save our changes. And then let's just do a background color, foreground color, or better yet, let's just on hover. Oops. Nav A, I can't spell today. Nav A hover, like so. And let's just do a standard for now, just as a placeholder. We're going to give a color of black, and we'll use almost black. I never like to use pure black. Actually, okay. We'll do color almost black, and then a background color of almost white. So we'll do like F0, F0, F0. Okay. And then what we'll do is to further emphasize this, let's create a hover effect where we swap the two. And so you see how I just copied those two, I pasted them here, And because it's Notepad++, I'm going to highlight the background in the dash and drag it up. And then I'm going to save my changes. And let's just see how this is turning out at this point. In fact, I'll move this over to the left so you can see the code as well as the stylings. And did I save my changes? I did save my changes. And I'm in the right folder. Yes, I am. And then I'm in the right template. Just double check it, run it, launch it in Chrome. Ah, here we go. Maybe, did I forget to hit refresh? I bet I forgot to hit refresh. As you see here, we can already see this, the hovering effect working. Because the hyperlink is treated as a block, it extends the entire width of the screen, which is probably not a good idea on our nav container. But over here, it's not a bad idea. Okay, so we're going to do a couple more stylings. We're going to get rid of the underline. So that's text decoration of none. And then let's add some padding. Actually, let's not add it to the hover effect. That would be bad. Let's add it to our hyperlink in general. Also, oh yeah, so that's text decoration of none. Oh yeah, padding, that's what we're going to do. Now, if we give it just two values like 0.3 EM and 0.5 EM, that just adds this to the top and bottom, this to the left and right. Save our changes, go back, hit refresh, and now they're spaced out a little bit more. Okay. The other thing I like to do is I like to give current link navigation. So if you're going to do that, you could add, for example, on the home page, you could, on your hyperlink, you could give a class of current or active or something like that, and then you can target it. So watch this. I'll just do a little class equals active. Oops. Again, having trouble spelling. And my technique for here is I style the class of active like I style the hover. So now I'm just going to put an A dot active. And, well, we'll separate these with commas so we know we're styling both the anchor in a nav hover and an A active. A with the class of active. Did I save my changes here? I'm going to make sure they're saved on both files. Nope, now they are. Go back, hit refresh. Now notice the home link already has that styling there. And yet we don't have it on here. Okay. All right, so that's just one way of doing navigation. There's one more thing we need to do, and that is to style our nav container. So here we're going to target the nav container with the hashtag nav container. And we want to target our list item inside of the nav container. Because what we're going to do is we're going to display our list items as inline block, which means they will only be as wide as the content inside of them, and they will display side by side. So this gives us our horizontal list. Hit refresh, and now we have home page, etc. The other thing we could do is we could style the background for our nav container. And we can just give it a background color of this F0, F0, F0. Save our changes, hit refresh, and now we've got that nice border there. We could even add some padding on here. Hit refresh, and now we've got these in here. Now, it depends on if you want to do that with the padding or not. You might decide you don't like that. But you might also decide you want to change this in your hyperlink on the nav container, in which case you can target the nav container differently, or the hyperlink in the nav container differently, like so. And now I'm just going to add a larger padding here. It's going to be 0.5 and 1. Hit refresh. There we go. Now you'll notice there's margins in between. So you can always target margins as well. And I think it might be in here. Let's see if that fixes it. Nope. All right. But at least at this point, we've got this. We got our general navigation bar working. So just make sure you have your link like this, and then let's just I'll clone this on both sides. So at this point, on the left-hand side, you can see the main part down to nav A, active hover, and we're just going to zoom down here so you can sort of see it on both screens. Actually, I think we can just F11 this. And I'll just zoom this out enough so we can see all of it. So on the right-hand side is all of the style sheet to create the nav container. And then you can go in and design different color schemes and add some of that to it. In the next video tutorial, we'll talk about background images and using that to style your site, as well as possibly to create or generate a color palette from that. So stay tuned.